Well, hello, everyone. I'd like to welcome everyone to wherever you're listening to this. Maybe it's a podcast, maybe it's on YouTube. I'm really excited to be speaking with my friend Jerome today. He is actually stationed at this very moment, at this time of recording. Wait for it. Amazon headquarters, UK. Drum roll, everyone. So
Yes,
I'm going to
ma'am.
be asking, I am going to be asking Jerome about his experience there and what all he's been learning. But first of all, let me tell you all a little bit about Jerome. Let me find his bio. I had it. I literally had it just a second ago. Okay, Jerome started the company, The Great Wall, and I'm going to be asking him about that in a minute. He and his team specializes in helping startups and traditional mid-sized global companies grow their distribution on and through Amazon. Jerome comes with 15 years of sales and international distribution experience in Europe, Asia, and North America. He focuses on real-world proven solutions with results as great as sales growth by 5 times within 2 years. So I want to talk a little bit about your background because I discovered some additional information about you. He, as a business unit leader, Jerome was able to build for global consumer goods brands Vanguard, Espenberg. Is that in, where's that located?
It's a Chinese company,
The
and
Chinese
they do photo accessories, so
Okay,
bags, cases, tripods, and also optics,
awesome.
and
So
binoculars.
you've been working basically on their e-commerce distribution solutions, and he also helps mid-sized companies in Europe to grow their Amazon business with real-world proven solutions. So I want to welcome you and thank you so much for letting me interview you today and talk about what you do and what services and benefits you can provide to some of the people that are listening today. So tell me a little more about you, Jerome.
A bit more about me. So apologies for the noise of the London street. It's it puts a bit of distraction, maybe, or at least some action around me. So I hope you hear me well. A bit about myself. So my background is business, and I was leader for the Ukraine operation of the company Vanguard you mentioned.
Okay.
And I was in charge of sort of the brand itself and the distribution in Europe. So I started to work with, we had obviously the largest retailers in Europe, MediaMarkt in Germany, Fnac, Cdiscount, and obviously Amazon also. So I started to coordinate the Amazon action throughout Europe, and also with my colleagues in the States and in Japan. And after 10 years of working there, I decided I would create my own company in Luxembourg. And very quickly, I focused on helping companies and brands specifically grow on Amazon. Why that is because I found out a lot of companies were not understanding really Amazon, saying, "Yeah, I'm fighting with them. They are trying to do this. They are trying to do that." And I was always surprised and say that doesn't seem right to me, or that doesn't make sense to from what I know of Amazon. And most of the time, the fights and quarrels were about communication problems or understanding and this and that and strategy and having the wrong strategy. And that's where it started. And then one by one, so we started with medium-sized companies, and now we're working also with very large companies in FMCGs, which have multiple subsidiaries worldwide, and we offer either consulting services. We also offer account management, where we can handle the accounts for the companies we work for. And we started also a group coaching exercise where for smaller beginners on Amazon, we do sort of group coaching where people don't want to pay a full-time consultant. We have bi-weekly calls and things which are probably a bit simple or easier to access.
That's really smart. Let me ask you, all of this is part of the company that you started called the Great Wall. How did you come up with that name?
So it was a bridge, let's say, between my past and the new company. So I've been working for 10 years in a Chinese company. My boss was a Chinese lady, Mrs. Lee, who's the owner of the company Vanguard. So it was for me a link between what I had been doing, and I really was very fond of my friends in China and the time we had spent there. And also for me, the Great Wall is one of the buildings which was one of the oldest building in the earth, and which supposedly is you can see from the moon, which actually is not true, but it was sort of the saying.
I've
And
heard
for me, it
this.
was
Yeah.
saying, okay, I want to build something which is lasting very long for customers, and you can see from far away. So
I
that
love
was the
that.
idea.
That's cool. I work with a lot of people on brand name creation, and it's really important for me to help clients find the nexus of really strong trademarks from a legal perspective as well as from a marketing perspective. So when I do these interviews, I always ask, or I try to remember to always ask, how did you come up with your name? Because I feel like brand name creation, like how you can just learn a lot from other people and how they actually came up with their names as well. So I didn't tell you I was going to ask you that, but that was very
That
interesting.
was
Thank you so much
yeah.
for
The
that.
thing is that the story is good. The in terms of marketing, it's probably not very. It doesn't explain a lot about what we're doing. So perhaps in the near future we'll have a rebranding exercise, but that is still to come.
Okay. Well, let me ask you, you are at this very moment, like I said during your introduction, sitting in front of Amazon's headquarters in the UK. And I know that you just had maybe some meetings there. So what can you tell us? What's going on over there? What have you learned?
Ah,
Tell us everything. Tell us the goods.
yeah, a lot of things. Basically, we so on my job is to have a network inside Amazon, a lot of people to know what's going on, and also to help solve issues we our customers have. And specifically on the account management side, because we have vendor managers or we have people on the seller side. And I was meeting with actually a few of the vendor managers we know and work with, and often with Amazon, people they move a lot, especially the very good vendor managers. They stay 1.5, 2 years, 2.5 years, not much more. So you
I've
need to keep
noticed
pace,
that.
and you need to be in touch and see what and who's going where, and try to keep up with them, because you can have good relationships and help each other. And as soon as they see you understand well how they work, and you don't use their time just to your own benefit, but you try to bring them some value, they're very happy to cooperate. So I was meeting with them, and one of the topics is they are in Europe. They are trying to implement a new feature which is called post localization in terms of content management, because although Europe looks like it's one Amazon Europe is one thing, but actually they built the network, or let's say the database in terms of product, is very local. So if you create your product in France or in the UK, it doesn't mean it exists in Germany or in France. So the system will try to duplicate it, but the content will not be good. So the issue is, if you are starting from the UK and you want to make sure your content is good, but you don't want to sell into, if you're a vendor, you don't want to sell into the multiple countries. So before you had to open an account in every country. Now they're starting, or they're trying to implement a post-localization feature, which is not yet really working. So this is typically the kind of topic we're having, is saying, okay, how can we solve? Because my job with my team is to deliver results fast. So if Amazon sometimes say, okay, bear with us, it's coming up, and we say, oh, no, well, we've been waiting for 2 months and we don't think it's coming, so we need to have a plan B. So I was coming up to meet and see how we could solve this and go quicker, and because sometimes it's very difficult to know what you need to do to go quicker. So that's why what our value added is in that case.
Yeah, I love the fact that that you're sort of like the appointed person to work with Amazon on behalf of your clients, and you're being proactive in going to London and actually walking through the doors into Amazon. You don't hear a lot of people doing that. I think that a lot of people are very intimidated by the monstrosity of Amazon, and they forget that there really are actually humans that work at Amazon. I feel like we forget that sometimes.
Yeah, and my background was handling distribution, so I would go and meet big retailers, like like the media. I was talking about Media Markt in Germany, which is a big one. Yeah, you would have also Walmart in the US or Carrefour in France, or this kind of buyers I was used to go and meet. So for me, it's normal, and you can do a lot of things by email, with WhatsApp, with
Mm-hmm.
webinars and things. But some things you do have to go and meet face to face. And most of all the customers we've onboarded, I always spend at least one day at the beginning with them and with the management and with as many people as possible to get the business going. And like in February, I went to Japan for them to deliver a workshop and also to meet the different people to get started with a brand, because it's very important to get that relationship and that sort of understanding. And without meeting each other, sometimes it's a bit difficult.
Let me ask you this. Has there been, have you heard much chatter going on at Amazon UK about Brexit and whether or not Brexit is going to have any type of implications for, I guess, how Amazon is running its business within the UK and throughout Europe?
Well, to be honest, I was surprised about how that is not a big issue, sort of handled as a, maybe because they are very proactive and they don't, it's there's so many ifs and so on that they were not spending a lot of time. So I suspect they will be probably on the logistics side, and they're working hard on it, and they probably got some contingency plans, but they don't. It's not a big topic for them. Also because they've got warehouses everywhere in Europe, so it's not for them that it's probably not as much of an issue. But I believe that will disrupt quite a few things. I mean, for sure, and mostly for UK customers.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I think it's like many things. Brexit was sold to the British public with quite a few lies, I believe. Whether it's good or not is another thing. But they will have a lot of surprises in terms of getting some goods, because there will be delays, obviously, on products. If there's a hard Brexit and you need to have customs back, the prices will go up for sure, and then products will take more time to be delivered in the UK. So.
Yeah, November it will probably be really interesting because I think that
Yeah,
it's like it's supposed to, unless they extend it or whatever, it's supposed to happen October 31st. So, I mean, it's like just in time for the holidays. So if
yeah,
pricing is going to be impacted or importing and exporting, it will be really interesting to see what happens in the UK.
yeah. Probably brands will see a peak in selling or in stocking in October, and so 2019 might be a good year in that respect.
Yeah.
But yeah, end of year might be a bit difficult for the UK and for brands in general. But and that's why, I mean, in terms of reaction or for brands to get prepared, if you're a seller or a vendor, in any case, you should have a second account ready, like an account in the UK or in Germany, for example, to be ready to ship and to be have not all your stock in the UK or not all your stock in Germany or anywhere else in Europe, so to be ready to have two fronts, let's say.
I think that's very good advice. It's never a good idea to have all your eggs in one basket. So I think
That's
that's
the idea. Yeah.
practical advice for people. So let me ask you, what are you seeing as being sort of I guess, the biggest success factors on Amazon for sellers? I mean, you've talked about, making sure that you have stock in the UK and Germany. What other pieces of advice can you give sellers?
Basically, the success on Amazon is, it's not very complicated. It's based on two things. One is generating traffic, and second is having a high conversion rate. That's down to that. So it's that easy, but to achieve it can be complicated. To achieve, you need the right kind of strategy and the right operation to handle that, to sort of support that. And then traffic means you've got three ways to get traffic. It's organic traffic, it's SEO, so how your products are ranking. It can be advertised traffic, or it can be third-party traffic. And then conversion is down to content, basically reviews, content, how good you're explaining your product, how good your pictures are. And that's basic. That's very, very basic, but it can be very complicated to make sure you master that. And it's a lot of work of testing it out. Is my conversion rate growing? Is it not growing? And that will make a big difference, is seeing how the trends are going. And most of our work is having an idea of, are you on trend, or what's your trend looking like?
So is that something that you guys do, is that you get back into the seller count and look at trends, like look at the hard data?
Yeah, well, Amazon is a data exercise. And if you talk to people in Amazon, and in any case, if you're having a discussion with a support team, with your vendor manager, with seller team, with anybody, base yourself on facts and data, and nobody will complain, or nobody will go against you if you've got the data to explain. So anything you do needs to be data based. And basically the idea is you need to look into data. How much traffic am I getting? How is it going? How my conversion, my average cost of sales, ACOS, how is that evolving? And rather than having a figure which makes sense, which is the figure, it's more about how things are moving, in which direction. And that's where probably we are bringing insights, and a lot of agencies are doing that, is because we have the experience of having seen it many, many times, of how the trend should look. And we can say, okay, this brand, probably your cost of advertising, your ROI will be very low, or the cost will be very high because your brand is not very well known, you're starting, your conversion rate is still low, and that's how that should evolve, and that's how you need to react. And sometimes for some brands, it's complicated to understand that, and they say, okay, I've read that my average cost of sales should be 20%, so I'm actually at 40%. That's awful, but actually, no, it's not awful. It's normal at your stage, for example, and you will reach probably even lower than 20% a bit further down the line. So it's all about those things. It's the metrics, and the way to measure success is quite easy. Now you have to the understanding takes a bit of time, and you need to act fast, and still have patience to see how things are evolving. So it's having both at the same time, being quick and patient.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like you all provide a really vital service, because a lot of people, and I would probably be one of those people, don't love to get in and look at that hard data, that all those numbers, and at the end of the day, the numbers aren't lying, right? And you can learn so much about the numbers, and the numbers are what we need to be able to make accurate decisions going forward for our business. And if you guys can get in there and look at that, then that seems like a vital aspect that a lot of people probably overlook, or don't really understand or appreciate the importance of.
Yeah, and some people tend to say, okay, it's a one-off. So I've done my content, I've done the ads, and okay, I'll go on with the rest of my business, which is not actually how it works. So you need to go on working on it. And basically on the accounts we handle and we do account management on, we deliver every week reporting on the KPIs we follow. So every week we're sending a reporting saying, okay, how are we going? Or we are feeling, okay, that something is going wrong, or we need to evolve. So you really need to have an eye on your dashboard what's happening. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the brands I was having a meeting for today in Amazon. Usually the sales in Germany is pretty big, and the UK is pretty big, and the other countries is lower. And in this specific brands, actually Germany is quite big, France is okay, but UK is very low. And we're ticking all the boxes of, in terms of content, advertising, and and it's and then you have a discussion. I'm sorry, there's a lot of noise. You're having a discussion about, why can that be happening? And then even for the Amazon people, it's a struggle. They don't understand. Okay, we've done all the different stuff we need to do, so you have to dig in, and try new stuff. And it's really trying to think out of the box all the time and test new stuff all the time.
Mm-hmm. Testing. I think people forget that. Let's talk a little bit about resilience. Is this your word for 2019? People sometimes will pick like their word for 2019, and I'd asked you, before this interview about what has helped you in the past and what could help you in the future, and I know that this could be some really good guidance for people who are listening, and you said the word resilience. So tell me why you said resilience.
I think being an entrepreneur is everything about being resilient. It's never giving up, and always believing in it. And people who've achieved anything have been resilient. I mean, look at a baby trying to walk. I mean, you fall down 20 times, 50 times, but you never give up. It's sort of like you want to walk, and you will walk, and you will. And something takes a lot of time for some it's very quick, but for me it's exactly that. And an exercise on Amazon, and that's why sometimes as an agency you can show some of the good sales results you've done, but sometimes it's you don't really know why something is working less well, and you're doing everything you can. And honestly, some accounts are really selling very well, and we're not doing a lot of work. We're just doing normal work, and it's working great. And people say, "Wow, you're so good." So, yeah. But actually, it's just because you've hit the right spot, and everything is okay, and the rest of the pricing is okay. And some other brands are saying, "Wow, really, we did a great job, and we've got everything," and it doesn't sell. And then you need to put 3 times more work for less results. So because the environment, because all of a sudden there's another website which done something else, you never know. So the thing is trying to find results or solutions all the time, and not giving up. And that's why I believe customers will keep on working with it, because we say, okay, if it's not working, we say so. We say we aren't happy, and we're not giving up. We're trying another thing, and that, I think, makes a difference.
Yeah, I think that kind of the resilience and the testing go hand in hand, and that's why I asked that question, because you have to go back, you have to test, you have to be ready to do that, willing to do that. And if you see that things aren't working, you have to be resilient, and you have to be ready to change things if you need to, and you have to be responsive. So I don't know. I think that that's some really, really great guidance for people. Now, one thing, I have kind of one more question, and you mentioned this on the worksheet that I sent to you, and I want to talk about international expansion, and specifically some of the biggest obstacles you all are seeing, and maybe some, I guess, action steps that people can take with respect to international expansion, whether they're expanding from the US and going into the EU, or if they're in the EU and they're wanting to expand into the US or Australia or Japan. I'd love to have some of your thoughts on that.
Well, this international expansion, the first thing is Amazon tends to make it look really simple and so easy, and wow, all of a sudden you get access to all those customers, and wow. Well, no,
not true.
It's not exactly true. The potential is there, and it's true. It's much easier than I mean, 10 years ago or 20 years ago when you wanted to set up a distribution. Today, you don't need specifically a distributor. You can use Amazon. But one big obstacle is VAT. You can't do local sales without registering for your VAT. Basically, if you have to pay VAT where you are stocking the products. So the first thing is, yes, it's much easier. Yes, it's much less expensive than before. But no, you cannot do it just like that. I had a customer calling me. Well, he was not a customer at that point, but he called me and said, "Oh, I sent my stock." He was based in Asia, and he sent, and he was a British citizen, and he had sent his stock into UK. Started, everything was ready, and say, "Oh, my goods are blocked at the customs." Because they say I should have a VAT number, but nobody from Amazon told me I needed a VAT number. So everything was blocked. You had a full container worth of goods blocked at the warehouse, at the customs, and and the customs guy said, I don't care if you don't have a VAT number and the number for importation, you will not get your goods. So it's easy, but if you don't have the right things, it can cost you a fortune because you're not ready. So the first thing is, yes, it's easier than before, but it's not. You need to get prepared, and either you've got resources or the people who can do it, or you need to seek assistance from either an agency, and there are a lot of people who can help you. There is a seller provider network on Amazon where you can find people. We obviously provide that, but there are a lot of people who can do it. You need to look at what kind of what's the DNA of the agencies, where they're coming from, what you're looking for. A lot of agencies in Europe and obviously in the States to do that. So one is be careful to seek assistance, and maybe third is don't underestimate especially that for Americans, is the importance of languages. You need to speak local language, and you need to make your content really good locally. And then here again, you've got great agencies. YLT Translation, for example, in Europe is a great company doing translations and localizing and doing SEO for each country. Don't expect that you come with, if you're American, you go with your English and will work. No, you will need to. It could work in the UK, and even some British people would say, no, that's American English. It's not proper British English. Okay, for that, yeah.
Our English is very proper.
So you could try but it will not work in Germany. It will not work in France. So you will need to localize. So it's really planning and having a strategy, and having. If you have no money to invest, don't do it. You do need a little bit of money. It's not a huge amount, but you do need a little bit of money to do that.
That's great advice. Now, you mentioned consulting and having a mentor, and I'm a big fan of this. I have my own business mentor, and I think it's smart to have several business mentors over the life of your business. Maybe not at the same time, but have a business coach or mentor for a few years, and then maybe think about getting a new one, because it's always great to have that new insight. So I would love to hear what you think about the benefits are of having a mentor or consultant, and tell me a little bit about your program and where you see your program and sort of your mentoring and consulting programs going over the next year.
So, yeah, well, I totally agree with you. And I mean, to the extent that myself, I'm also using and working with mentor or coaches, not several at the same time, and also meeting with other entrepreneurs and getting insights from people outside of your business. And what I did an MBA a few years ago, and the great learning was that you can't be, sorry, it's a truck, a London truck being happy. You can't be good at everything. So you will always, look for advice, listen to people, and try to learn. So I totally agree. On the mentoring program, my idea was say, okay, a lot of brands, maybe some smaller, but also some bigger, they would like to learn. They don't want to have a one-to-one consultant, and probably sometimes the margins are a bit low or the business is a bit low. So they would like to be only part of a group. And you do get a lot of free information online. So I built an 8 weeks course basically with videos. So 1 hour video every week. But that's not the value of the course. The value of the course is that you get a group page, sort of a Facebook group page, where you can ask a question and you can get support from myself or from the people from my team or from others, which would be, in the same situation. And then we have every 2 weeks a call, and we can discuss between ourselves, and people will bring their problems, and you will learn from the problems the others. And I can share some of my insights, some of my knowledge, and I learn every day with talking with Amazon, talking with our accounts, and talking with brands. And the idea is sharing, is making it scalable for me, so the cost is not too much, and then people can take benefit of that without spending too much money. So the idea is it's €1,500. They get 8 weeks. This 8 weeks sort of basics on strategy, conversion, conversion traffic, and operations. And then we get those. They can get those a benefit that they would get 1 year access to this every 2 weeks call and group coaching, which is great when you're anybody who started or was just started on Amazon will tell you. I mean, you've got so many things, and Amazon is sending me this email. What is it for? I don't understand. Okay, that email is not important. That one is important. Be careful. Wow, and so much information I'm lost. And yeah, I say, okay, and it's simple, and you don't want to go, each time have a consultant call and maybe pay much more money. And then anytime you need, you can just drop a message on the group. That was the idea.
I love that. And, Amazon is constantly evolving, constantly. It's such a dynamic platform. I mean, business is constantly evolving, right? I mean, there's going to be a new social media channel out there next year, probably, that we're going to have to learn. So I think that having that group, it's almost like a mastermind. I don't know if you want to call it that, but it almost seems that way, because people can post their problems and their wins and, get feedback from other people. And that kind of guidance is absolutely invaluable for my opinion. So
totally. And the idea is, for me, I mean, in the video part, you've got some tools I'm giving where people can use and download and use them for themselves in terms of strategy, in terms of different things they want to put in place. And then on the group, then it will be sharing everything. And like you said, you've got new things that we learn every day. So you get lots of sources, but then you can see how it will impact your business. In terms of masterclass, I mean, you can call it whatever you want. My idea was to start with beginners, and perhaps at a later stage next year to do a masterclass with probably larger accounts or larger sellers, and go into more details and more specific tactics and strategies. But the idea is the wealth of knowledge you can have as a group is enormous, and it's much more than if you were alone. So, and there's a lot to learn about. And even you're a so-called expert on Amazon, talking to people, you learn a lot. And every time you talk with someone, you learn sometimes something new. So
always. So you have this Amazon Launch Accelerator mentorship program. Is that separate and apart from this mastermind?
That is sort of the mastermind. You can call it what you want. That is this group coaching exercise. Which you can call Mastermind if you want. The idea was it's a launch accelerator, so it's really for people who want to start, who have started, and then the next step would be for them if they can have the one-to-one consulting, or we can create maybe in the future a master class where with larger accounts. Basically, the promise is giving you the tools to reach 100,000 a year for your business. So basically, with this group.
Let me ask you, where can people find you and learn more about your programs that you're offering?
So today the best platform, or the easiest one, is LinkedIn. We obviously have a website, but I'm not a great believer of websites tend to lose. You've got information there, but LinkedIn is the best way to find us. There is a page about the Launch Accelerator program, which
I'll
is
link it.
hosted by Syncovit. Yeah. So that you can have a look, but by all means get in touch with me. And if you have any questions, we can have a quick one-to-one session on the call to see how, or someone from the team, to see how that program could be fit for you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for all of your valuable insight today, Jerome. I think what I will do is I will post your LinkedIn page so people can find you and connect with you there, if that works. And thank you so much for this amazing information. Enjoy your time at the Amazon headquarters and see if you can find some good, like, juicy insider stuff while you're there. Are you going to be going back in for anything?
Yeah, well, I might have another meeting, and I'm speaking at a seller meetup event tonight in London. So.
Oh, nice.
Very, very interesting day. And I'm sorry for all the noise, but there's a lot of construction in London. That's nice.
It's a growing city. I've never been there, but I would love to visit, hopefully soon.
Well, you tell me, and I'll make sure you have a nice day.
Well, I'll keep that in mind. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for everyone who's listening or watching this on YouTube. And thank you, Jerome, and we'll be in touch.
We'll be in touch. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.